Welcome back to Itaewon by Night. Thanks for waiting for us for a little break. PAX Unplugged was very fun. Lots of other travels that were had. We are back. Let's see. Welcome to Arc 2 of Arc Itaewon by Night, Episode 4. Again, meet us after the break for going crit RPG specific announcements. For our content warnings tonight, there will be brief descriptions of graphic violence in the beginning monologue of tonight's episode. As a reminder, just to get everybody settled back in, our usual content warnings for the show are substance use, emotional and memory manipulation, induced memory loss and infatuation, disappearances, historical themes of real-world war and colonization, and other dark themes, including eating a dead body's bloodless heart. My name is Josephine. I am your storyteller for tonight. I go by none/she pronouns, and you can find me at Scary Dog Friend on socials. I'll pass it over to Youngles.
Hi, I'm Youngles, and I play Wendy, and we both go by she/they pronouns. And I will pass it off to Hamna.
Hello, everybody. My name is Hamna. I use any and all pronouns, and I play Cerise Shaheen, who uses they, them pronouns, and they are our chaotic Ventru fledgling. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it there. Jay, why don't you take it over?
Hello everyone, my name is Jay. I use they them pronouns on the internet at Nalawu and at Naladraws everywhere else. And tonight I am playing Verdian's Song, Ventru and Soleil, and Cerise's Sire.
Oh, it's me. Hi. Hello. How's it going? My name's Fabs. It's been a while. I'm playing Jet, Thin Blood. Passing it to you, Gwen.
Hi, I'm Gwen. At Glitchy Pixie on socials, my pronouns are she, her. I'm going to be playing Key, who also uses she, her pronouns, who's clanless.
We'll find out what the fuck that's about later. Getting right into our recap from last episode. As Wendy takes the 3 days to recover after the attack of Temperance, the revival or Ouroboros cult elder, Viridian takes it into their hands to find out how to make things right. Cerise nurses Wendy back to health. Jet makes phone calls with the Yakuza. It's time to break into the morgue, using the stolen senior inspector's access card, Han Eri, pretending to be Seoul National University personnel. Chaos ensues as Jet and Cerise's hunger rises. The body of Kim Kangmin is found in a peculiar state. Crushed wrist, a knife-like slash to the neck, drained of blood. A strange and foreign force compels Cerise to briefly become an organobore, biting into the heart of the dead boy. And given that the body was crudely opened up, the heart bitten out of, the group decided to steal the body. Efforts are made to cushion the consequences of their actions. For a little vignette back into episode 3, we'll start with Viridian very quickly. Viridian, at the end of that night, you have a body in your morgue, kitchen grade body freezer.
Empty fridge.
Yes. You've sent everyone home, including Cerise, which perhaps that's not as common of a occurrence as it really is for the both of you in your arrangement. You clear your head, however you do, but before you can fully perhaps get ready for your day's rest, you get a phone call.
Mm-hmm.
It is from, I think it's a number that you don't have to save, but it is a familiar number.
Mm-hmm.
Do you pick up?
Yes.
No, you're good. A voice that has a smile sort of melded into it. It's one that you haven't heard in perhaps a while, because it's not every day you really need a hacker. But the voice that speaks behind the phone is the voice of your contact, Cinnabar. Cinnabar says, "The deed's done. Anything else you need?"
Not at the moment. Thank you.
No. People you need disappearing? Anything like that? Anything else?
Viridian pauses, thinking about the night's happenings. Is it safe to assume that Viridian has also asked this hacker to orchestrate the whole, because the excuse that we were going with, as far as I understand, from last episode, was that the body of the student who died was accidentally taken for cremation too early. And I'm assuming I've already asked the contact to also orchestrate that in the records and pin the blame on those people. So, like, has that already been done, or does Viridian need to ask for that?
That has been done. Well, I think Cinnabar would like to specify, perhaps before this phone call, are we pinning it on both of the people involved or one or the other?
I think if I remember last episode correctly, I think Viridian's intent was to pin it on that intern that was there. Who was sleeping.
Yeah.
Oops.
Oops.
Yeah.
You're just gonna
I think
ruin this young man's life?
I think it was a girl. Doesn't matter. But we have our fall guy, and
Yep.
that was gonna be it, because I specifically remember telling the poor tech who y'all tried to undress that she didn't remember anything, and she was out of the room the whole night, so wouldn't have seen the body or anything.
Got it. Cinnabar kind of chuckles. Can't remember the last time you gave me something as ruthless as this. Usually it's kind of, I guess, kind of more casual stuff. I would not mind if you gave me a little bit more work like this.
I'll keep you in mind.
Please do. And then Cinnabar hangs up. Finally,
Viridian just like tosses their phone just like onto the bed, and I think Viridian is just gonna go the heck to sleep.
Yep.
They are not happy right now.
Understood. Somewhere the same night, somewhere far away, in a completely different sort of side of the city, wherever this may be, in a shipping container somewhere near port, the wet crack of knuckles, ornate with heavy jeweled rings, grinds against the nose of a man strapped in a chair. This time, not in a chair in a warehouse basement of our beloved Viridian song, but again in a shipping container somewhere. Rie Hino winces, the bleach blonde woman in the snake-scaled suit real estate agent. Winces, standing a respectful distance away from the current carnage. "This isn't gonna look great. You know that, Dad?" she says. "I'm not sure," the so-called dad says, in between and punctuated by other punches. "Why you think I need to worry about that?" Rie says, "The purse strings, Dad. It's not even a matter of tightening them, it's the fact they've been wearing away for the past God knows how long it's been." A pause. Rie Hino's father, the head of the dying out Hino clan name, En Hino, A tall, silver-haired man wearing tiny black sunglasses, broad-shouldered and covered in blood and brain, turns back to his daughter. What the fuck are you talking about again? Rie. Dad, he's been dead for the last 2 minutes, Rie says, exasperated, gesturing to the purely dead man sitting now in the chair. Rie's father looks down, looks back at his daughter. Ignoring her previous question, he begins putting his suit jacket back on top of the white shirt covered in blood. How much longer am I gonna have to be waiting for those kids? Biting the inside of her cheek, Rie sighs, pushing her own sunglasses up onto her head, red, blazing, snake-like eyes meeting her father's gaze. You're not gonna like my answer. The next night. Perhaps even in some other time, actually. Jet and Cerise, let's cut back to a memory of yours.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, I didn't know if you were gonna say something. Sorry.
Oh, no. I was just acknowledging.
Word. How long ago has it been since the two of you met?
It's been a while. I believe Cerise. This was before Cerise's turning.
Yeah,
So
was
it would have
least
been
a-
at least a couple years ago. Yeah,
Mhm.
because I turned about a year ago.
Yeah. Basically, Jet was in a really bad place. Before meeting Cerise. Jet was caught by the authorities with possession of illegal substances. A lot more frowned upon than, painkillers and fentanyl that are peddled commonly. And he was in dire straits. Kindred, who lost his sire, is now being threatened with either lifelong jail time or, deportation, whichever is, worse. But he was lucky enough to meet a really passionate go-getter lawyer at the time. I believe he was waiting for, processing when I believe Cerise walks in.
Yeah, Cerise, at this time, about a couple years ago, they walk into the precinct and the door is like slammed open up against the wall. It makes a sound that rings throughout the entire fucking precinct. And you see this small 5 foot nothing, very slender person walk in with wearing like this pastel blue pantsuit, holding a briefcase. And they look confident the way that Cerise always does, but I think there's something about the way that they walk that betrays a little bit of insecurity. And they kind of look around the room and they go, right, oh, that way. And Cerise walks over to where Jet is being processed, and they kind of like knock on the window at first to get the attention of whichever officer is currently processing him.
Yeah, Joe?
Some guy.
Some guy.
Just
I don't
some
know his
guy.
name.
All right, just some guy. Cerise kind of like waves and like gestures, asking like, "Can I come in?"
You're in luck. Somebody is deciding to take your case on.
You see a sigh of relief from Jet. Jet was not always the confident, bullshitter that he's been. I think out of the whole coterie, Cerise has been the only one who's seen this vulnerable side of Jet, this fear in his eye of repercussions. But yeah.
Cerise
Go ahead.
Cerise walks in, and they kind of like fix their long wavy hair, running a hand through it nervously. They say, my name is Cerise Shaheen, JD, attorney at law. Recently joined the law firm. I am here to represent you, Mr. And they kind of like go to their briefcase and like pull out some papers. I think some of them like fall to the floor, and they go, "Oh, sorry, give me 1 second." And they pick a couple of them up.
Ilagan. Yeah, Jetro Ilagan is my name. Yep. And you see him. He still has handcuffs. And he's for Kindred. If he can sweat, he would sweat. But he's just glad you're here.
We'll say that the officer leaves y'all to it, by the way.
Yeah. Look, I got you heard what I'm in for. I can't be sent away. This is huge. This is big trouble for me. Is there any way that you can help me? Let me out?
Cerise sits at the chair that the officer had vacated, like in front of Jet, and they put their briefcase up on the table. And their hands, they fold in front of them on the table, like very professionally, and they sit up. Almost a little bit too stiffly, like this is a rehearsed thing that they've done.
Mm-hmm.
I can assure you that I understand that I'm new to the firm, and I don't know if you're worried about that at all, but I promise you my record speaks for itself. I have yet to lose a case, and I don't plan on starting now. So, yes, we're gonna get you off.
He pauses, thinks about making a joke, and he's like, no, this is just, it's too serious right now. No, I don't mind at all. Look, what do you have for me? Like, I'm really desperate right now.
I did manage to go through all of the files that the precinct gave me. They wouldn't give me everything, but I have enough, I think. And they kind of like spread out a bunch of different like paperwork on the table in front of you. A lot of it is like legalese that Jet, I don't know how familiar Jet is with reading that kind of stuff. And so comprehension is up to you. But they kind of like fan these papers out. And they point to one in particular, and at the top of it, the letterhead kind of reads, Song International Shipping. From my understanding, you are employed by Viridian Song.
Yes. Yeah, I think, well, yeah, Viridian can definitely, get whatever you need. Think of it as a retainer. Look, I know this is, I know it doesn't look great. Possession, these, I mean, elsewhere it's pretty
sweetheart,
legal, right?
Let me stop you there. I think you're under the impression that I think you've done something wrong, and that's not the case. I'm here because I don't think you've done anything wrong.
Okay. Great. Well, yeah, Viridian Song, they'll be able to tell you all the information where I got this, and where it's going, and definitely, if you need payment up front, they'll be able to settle it.
Oh, don't worry about that. The firm will handle all of that. What I need from you, Jet, is to know everything. I need to know where your supplier is, if you have one. I need to know who you've been selling to, who knows about any of this. And most importantly, they tap the paper in front of you. I need to know about the nature of your relationship with this Viridian.
Okay. I'll tell you everything. And I feel like at this point, you see the kind of scene dissolves into what we last left off, because I feel like the contrast between the relationship of Jet and Cerise right now is completely different. I guess a year after that, Cerise became one of us, and Jet now is the bumbling fool that everybody knows. So yeah.
Where do you think that we are in the present day during this scene? 'Cause we're not at Viridian's house. I think we've established that much.
Yeah, I think previously when he separated off, he got his car to drive over to Viridian. He's probably gonna look at both you and Wendy and it's like, you guys need a ride?
Yeah, I don't think that I can ask Viridian for anything right now, and my cars are all in her garage, so.
Sure. What about you, Wendy?
I mean, I'll always take a ride.
Sure. So yeah, you see that this like really sleek matte painted sports car, pretty much I open the door for both of you, and then we get in. I think for posterity's sake, without even thinking about it, Jet drops off Wendy first. And after that, he just turns to Cerise and just asks, I thought you lived with Viridian. Where should I take you?
Just drive. Anywhere. I don't want to
Alright.
be home right now.
All right. So we drive. Joe, you're more knowledgeable about the area. I think we go for like a longer drive. Not necessarily too far from the city, but like long enough to have like a scenic route to get collected.
Is there like an overpass or like a place to overlook the city that we could like stop at?
There's the Han River,
Okay.
which it's still a drive ways out, but like it's a place to get some views.
Mm-hmm. So we go there.
And I think, assuming that Jet, even if Jet doesn't park, actually, Cerise, I think, has been oddly quiet during this whole drive. And there's something that is like running through their mind the whole way through. And eventually they kind of just, I think absentmindedly, like turn to look at you, Jet. And they look at you and they don't look away. And there's this curious look in their blue eyes. And after far too long, and maybe Jet like is noticing that Cerise is staring, after far too long of doing that, Cerise just goes, "We've been friends for a while, right, Jet?"
I always thought so, yeah. And you're noticing that Jet is fighting to stare back.
Are we parked? This is important for what I'm about to do next.
Yes. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Cerise kind of like was leaning away up against the window at this point, but they lean forward and they take their hand and they kind of, if it's okay with Jet, kind of like run it along his thigh.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Jet allows, but he stops you halfway and just kind of holds the hand and kind of clasps it, not moving where the hand is.
You know, I was thinking it might be time for us to take our relationship to another level.
I don't know. What did you have in mind?
Well, you taste delicious. And I was wondering if you wouldn't mind making that a more regular thing.
I don't know if your sire's going to be happy with that.
Viridian's never happy with me. What's one more thing?
Normally, I'd be completely fine with it. And honestly, and this is the first time he actually looks at you. And honestly, it was kind of a rush. There are things that...
Kinda.
And he kind of leans in closer. But there are things that... There are people that might get upset.
Is
And-
it just Viridian you're worried about?
And he... From here, he starts to kind of twirl his fingers around the top of your hand. And he leans in closer and says, "No, there's other people. But I guess they don't have to know."
I'm very good at keeping secrets.
We'll see who's better. And, I guess we can fade there and we can... Whatever people interpret that. So yeah.
You can write the fic about it. We
Yeah.
won't tell you. You can write the fic
Yeah.
about it.
Exactly. Join our Discord
They
and
play
talk
phone
about it.
games.
Yeah, post about it on our Discord. We have a room there. Anyway, yeah, and I think after fading to black eventually, I think Jet brings Cerise to the lab, which is his haven. He has a place there for other kindred to stay if need be. And yeah.
You know what?
Okay.
Yeah. Cerise has their own apartment, but no. You know what? Cerise stays with Jet tonight.
Okay.
My bad.
At some point, Jesse comes home.
No, the lab and the...
Oh,
and
the lab.
Yeah, the lab,
Lab.
not the apartment.
Got it. Do you have any place to sleep at the lab?
Yeah, I pull all-nighters.
Okay, cool. Good thing you're both dead, because your proximity to lie is interesting. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
It's the next day. Everybody, please give me your rouse checks.
Oh,
Oh, I forgot that we do that.
yes.
Me too. I always forget. So
Oh! Okay. I'm still at
Okay.
0.
0.
I failed, so I'm at 2.
Cerise,
No!
number 2.
I failed. I'm at 2.
Jesus Christ.
Wendy,
Wendy
how you doing?
has also failed.
We are one hungry coterie. Let's go.
All right.
Hell yeah.
I almost feel weird being at 0 hunger.
You know what? It's okay. I have a juice box now. I can deal with this.
Yeah.
Jesus. I want to ask, just because Wendy, we haven't had a little update from you on your side. Is there anything that you do before Jet will get a phone call? So just as you're waking up, or even before being dropped off or anything like that, is there anything on Wendy's mind?
I think Wendy would just honestly go home and crawl in bed because they haven't been home in like days, and they just live in like this little like tiny basement apartment or something.
Yeah.
And like they're just like get all cozy and just like disappear until, you know, the next thing that happened. It's been a lot for Wendy.
Absolutely. In whatever sleeping situation that Cerise and Jet wake up from, Jet, you were getting a phone call.
Oh shit. Where's my phone? Where's the fuck? And you see like a few things topple over and he just like picks it
Yeah.
up. Yep. Hey. Hello.
Just for flavor, can I say Cerise tosses you your phone?
Oh yeah. It's like, oh, thanks.
Cool.
Hey, what's up?
It's Rie. It's her voice kind of rings through. TikTok?
Shit. Yeah. Fuck. Let me. Fuck. Where's my pants? Hey. So. Yeah. We're gonna head there, and yeah. Let me get Wendy and Viridian. And yeah. And cool. We'll see you. Look, I am really sorry. I hope you didn't get into big trouble.
Nah, you're good. Take your. I mean,
No, we're not. Yeah, we're gonna rush.
Professionally, take your time. Yeah, just meet us. Was there a specific place that I said to? This is out of character. Was there a specific place that I told y'all to meet, or is it just?
I think it was just like a general, like, we assumed it was like their place of.
Right. Okay. Rie just kind of like, all right, let me send you the address, get dressed or whatever you're doing, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah. Cool.
Get everybody.
Thanks. Yeah. And then I drop the call. I quickly text Viridian and Wendy about, meeting up. And I look at Cerise and it's like, I think clothes. Change of clothes, right? I think it would be better.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Cool.
Do y'all meet up to drive in the same car, or do you all converge?
I think I'll bring Cerise to their apartment and then go to mine. And maybe plan to converge.
Regardless, I will need someone to pick me up because, like I said, all of my cars are at Viridian's house.
Right.
True.
I feel like Wendy would lazily be like, "Can you come get me?"
Mm-hmm.
Then Jet will just like turn around after getting ready and then just like pick people up and then head over to Viridian.
Viridian?
Yeah, I think Viridian will just like the text that comes back from Viridian's number probably is just like very curt, informing you that I don't need a ride because Cal will drive me to the meeting place.
You were given the address to 91 Hanam.
Okay. This is familiar.
Above the table, is that not my apartment?
It's Cerise's apartment.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. It's also where one of the most expensive penthouses in Itaewon. There's a BTS member currently lives there or something.
So Cerise doesn't actually need a ride. It's just there at your apartment.
No, I think it's funnier if Jet picked me up, didn't realize where we were going, got the text that it was at my apartment, and then had to drive me back.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. That's really funny.
Yeah, that's I
like
see that
that.
happening.
Mm-hmm. When you're just in a car for like 30 minutes,
So like for flavor, I feel like Wendy just literally rolls out of bed like in this giant blanket sweatshirt and like starts like lazily like pulling a blood bag out of their fridge and like just starts like their phone goes off and they just go. And then just like sit on the couch and like space out for a good like 20 minutes and then like outside like, can we go? And oh right, and just like slippers off, shoes on, and like leaves and gets.
Does Wendy show up in the onesie blanket? Okay, hon. When Wendy shows up, Cerise just kind of looks at you and goes, "You can't be serious right now."
What? Wait, hold on. I have the perfect thing for this occasion. Give me a second. Wendy just goes, "What?
You cannot go to a meeting dressed like that. Sweetie, it's okay. I thankfully I have some stuff with me. You can pick what color."
Okay.
And in the back seat waiting for you is a bag of chocolate and like a little kind of like juice pouch of like alchemy
Juice
stuff.
pouch. Yes. So Wendy's probably
Okay.
like half listening to Cerise and mostly going through the bag of stuff in the back.
I like to imagine that Wendy waking up is interspersed with shots of Verdian waking up, and it's like two total opposites kind of situation. Like Verdian
Yeah.
wakes up and does their makeup while Cal is standing there like going over their schedule and talking about all the stuff they have to do that day. I should note that Cal was sleeping in Verdian's bed with Verdian, and the two of them are getting dressed together and whatnot, getting ready, interspersed with Wendy's methods of waking up.
Cal in particular, because it is not it's like their divorced parents. It's not a Cerise night. Is particularly more affectionate and like interested in your physical space. But then it's like professional, puts it on and then gets ready to drive you towards 91 Hanam. Eventually, all of you converge. It's been only a night since all of you have seen each other, but there's a certain weight.
I think Cerise sees maybe Viridian comes around like after we've already been here for a little bit, and Cerise kind of sees. I assume Cal is staying with you throughout this. Yeah. Cerise sees Viridian and Cal come in, and they like walk up to Viridian with this like pep in their step that feels like, I think Viridian can tell is staged a performance. It's not real. Sajangnim, how was your night?
It was fine.
Only fine.
And I think Verdian just looks past you and looks to Jet. And they look back at you for a moment, and they just like nod very curtly, and they and Calliope walk past you, and they go to where Jet is standing, and they just say, where's this meeting?
Penthouse.
I think as you're walking by, I think Cerise is clearly like upset at the reaction that Viridian has had, and purposefully, I think, like is in the way of Cal as Cal is walking by and like bumps into Cal.
Not morning, night. Good evening.
Yeah. And Cerise turns around and walks to the group.
We're going to the penthouse. You okay, Viridian?
I'm fine.
Okay, sure. I turn around and I guess I'd like lead the way to the elevator. I whisper to Wendy. Oh yeah.
Oh, can I real quick?
Yeah.
As you sort of like turn around, Viridian just says, not quiet, like they're not saying it only to you. They say it loud enough that other people can hear them, and they just say, "Is something wrong?"
I don't know. Is there? And I just like look around and put my hands on my hips.
And Viridian
Cerise.
is also looking at Cerise specifically, and then back at Jet, and then back at Cerise.
That's a very good question.
I feel like Wendy has no social cues whatsoever and does not understand what is happening in this moment, and like just walks up and is just like with their like chocolate, just pops chocolate up and is just like, "Hey, what's up? It's been, how's everybody doing? Okay.
seems everything's okay, I guess.
Viridian notes that you're wearing Cerise's clothes. That is assuming you did change, or did you not?
Yeah,
change?
yeah, no.
Okay.
Wendy
Yeah.
just does what she's told by Cerise.
Viridian just clocks that you're wearing Cerise's, like a suit or something of Cerise's, and
Yeah.
they just kind of nod at you, and their eyes have a little bit more warmth when they look at you, Wendy. And then they return back to their like normal, sort of very cold, piercing gaze. And they just turn to face the direction that we're all headed, and they just say, well, it seems everything is fine.
Well, I think that this meeting was for the 4 of us. I'm not really sure if plus ones are allowed.
Who's a plus one?
My assistant. And
Oh!
Viridian just kind of gestures backwards to Calliope.
Right. And then Wendy just juice box in mouth, turns around and goes back to the back of the line.
Calliope kind of like whispers, like it's kind of like adjusted behind your shoulder, Viridian. I could just stay in the car. I don't know.
And Viridian kind of like turns over their shoulder a bit, and they say, I don't want you leaving unless they ask you to.
It was never said that it was supposed to be the 4 of us, so they just need to see us. And I don't want to make this man wait any more than he already did. Maybe we can talk about whatever this is later. Cool.
Fine.
And you see like this uncomfortable shrug from Jet. And I just like go to Wendy's like, I'm glad that you're here.
Aww. And then Wendy just like out of the suit pant pocket pulls out like part of the chocolate bar and just hands it to Jet.
I break a piece off and I eat it, and I just like start walking.
Going up the penthouse. It is the room that we're specifically going for is a mere 10th floor or so. It's a considerable distance up. The elevator is glass and passes by a billiards room, a pool, a giant gym, a party room, another party room. 901 Hanam is lit, and this is a familiar sight to you, Cerise, no problem. Access, no problem. This is where you live. And eventually, all of you sort of see kind of a very peculiar sight of one of the penthouse doors being guarded by 2 sort of burly men on either side of the door. It is a considerable, like the doors, for whatever reason, it almost seems like this is like one of the like master apartments, that sort of thing. And it seems that Rie, is talking to the both of them with her back turned to all of you. If anyone wants to do a wits awareness to see what she's talking about, we can for sure do that.
I would love to do that.
I miss rolling these dice.
3 successes.
Same.
Amazing.
4.
Oh, incredible. Rie in particular is saying, just make sure that he's already in one of his moods. Just make sure that nothing else is happening really even on this floor, if there's anything going on, just like make people kind of get them to another party room, get them to wherever the fuck else they need to be. Seemingly out of character, Rie is saying, we need to be placating as much as possible at this moment. She turns around, finally. Before turning around, she puts her sunglasses back down to her eyes. Incredible. How was everyone's drive? Your night so far?
Pretty good. Pretty frickin' good. So where's the big guy at?
Right inside. She's like seemingly counting over everybody. Points to Calliope. Points to the rest of the group. Who's accounting for this one?
If Viridian just like looks at Cal and looks back at Rie, and I think Viridian and Rie have a like business relationship, I think, according to my notes at least. And but it makes sense that I think Rie hasn't met Calliope yet, and so Viridian will just step forward and say, Rie, this is my assistant and retainer, Calliope Jin.
Okay, that should be fine.
Thank you.
Well, let's head on in, I guess. Ria opens the door for all of you. And on the inside, it is a room that seems to only specifically be made almost to suit the ego of one man. And that one man is this silver-haired man. You wouldn't know, but he's in a clean suit by now. In a similar sort of like green snake scaled, rather than his suit, Rie is just sort of full chartreuse kind of scaled suit situation, but it's only his shoes. Similar sunglasses to what Rie is wearing. There's something about just the way that the both of them carry themselves. I think this is the first time you were meeting this man, Jet. They look related. Rie kind of gestures a bit like half-heartedly over to what seems to be the head. And she kind of clears her throat. This is the head of the Hino clan. This is my father, and Hino.
I just bow, like, out of reflex.
I think following Jet's lead, Cerise will also bow. Because Jet is the one in charge here, so...
Wendy, like, does like a small, like just a quick like head nod, like Korean style, like seeing each other on the street, head nod, acquaintance, not so much a bow. And kind of looks at everybody else like, why are you doing this?
Have I met him before in our business dealings?
Nope. I think you've heard enough about him from Rie, probably. I'm not sure how socially friendly are you with Rie, do you think? Compared to Debbie in particular.
Given that my notes say under Debbie that she is a good friend of mine and we joke gaslight each other, and then the notes under Rie say that that Rie's family and I have a business relationship, I think it's we're friendly, but
Yeah.
not at the level of like being friends, if that
Got
makes
it.
sense.
So yeah, definitely you wouldn't have met N.
Okay. Then I think Fridian does like a polite like head nod of deference as if to say like this is your space, like I respect that. But they don't do like a full bow that the other two do.
N, you know, again, this older man, very sleekly dressed, sitting back in a very one of those like fashionable chairs that do not seem comfortable to sit in, just certainly more of a centerpiece of a room. It's a huge room. Everything else is mostly dark, and it's really just this one sofa in the center of this room. That is the entirety of this penthouse. And gestures for all of you to take a seat in front of him. There's like other sort of like there's a coffee table and other sofa and armchairs and such. Jet, I'm assuming that's you.
Yes, sir.
You are the one that called my daughter about this cult.
Yes. More so for posterity's sake. I am not entirely sure what you know about me and your daughter's working relationship, but we tend to look out for each other, and she's somebody I can trust. So, yeah, I let
If
her
you're
know.
somebody that my daughter trusts, then I trust you.
I hope so.
And if these are the people that are around you that you trust, I trust them as well.
He just gives you a nod, and he just like looks around.
Something about the smile behind, very much like the Corinthian from Sandman kind of figure in front of you. There's something about the smile that sort of makes the words, the people around you, I trust them as well, that seem more of a threat than anything affirming. But again, he smiles. I would like to offer my services to you. And which one of you is Wendy?
Wendy like sheepishly raises her hand.
I'd like to offer my services to the both of you. The both of you have been targeted in particular by this cult, yeah?
A few days
Looks
ago, yeah.
like it.
Any particular reason why? Just bad blood, or the both of you are stone cold killers or something?
I look at Wendy and just expectantly, are you gonna tell him?
And she's just like, I think Wendy's in this weird place of like, what do we do what do like do we trust them? But I guess seeing Jet, Wendy will be like, well, I mean, I would, and then like remembers that they're wearing Cerise's clothes and tries to like kind of like puff her chest up a little bit, and she's like, well, I mean, clearly they're after us for a reason, and kind of like looks over at Cerise like, am I doing this right? Like,
I think Cerise like tips your chin up, just like reminiscent of the way that they did back at the morgue.
Because the both of you are gonna cause the apocalypse, or something along those lines, yeah?
If I may, and Viridian will just kind of look between the two of you. Viridian says, the cult revival or Ouroboros, they specifically target orphans. And that is why the two of them were targeted.
It's always been interesting to me. I haven't had any problems with any orphans.
Nor
Especially
have
when they just as fun to have around, just as nice to have around as ghouls, any other person. For my services, I'd like to ask that we develop a working relationship, Jet and Wendy, and the people around you with who you trust. Jet. Oh, yeah, Wendy.
She would just be like, what kind of working relationship?
Jet, what can you tell me about this fellow this deadbeat dad of yours?
Well, not a lot for now. Don't know where he is. He could be in Singapore for all I care. Last time, I mean, let's be honest. He's a part of the Min family. The Ventru, like my two companions over here, and what of a dirtbag. Out for himself for sure. Used me and discarded me, and pretty much left me with nothing.
Did you want to say something, Jen?
Wendy just looks over and is like, I'm sorry, why is any of that relevant?
We're getting to know each other. There's no problem with that quite yet, is there?
Seems like a rather personal question to be asking for getting to know each other.
Points at you, Cerise. Ask me a personal question.
Okay, fine. Why don't you tell us how you acquired all of this? And Cerise kind of gestures to the room. Nobody gets here doing only good things, so...
You usurp your family's power over you. You slice some people's heads off. You burn some people alive. Blood money. Very fashionable.
I feel closer to you already.
Wendy just looks at Cerise and she's like, you did that?
Me? Oh, honey, no. Well, we can talk about that later.
Okay.
And Wendy. No last name?
No. Is that required for a business relationship? I wasn't.
No. But it isn't. Makes me curious about you in an interesting way, we'll say.
Wendy's just like, is interesting good, like, or interesting bad? Like, just kind of like, what does that mean?
For you, Wendy, I'm not entirely sure what I can help with, but for the both of you, one guarantee, absolutely I have, is I can have eyes on you if you're in a particularly sticky situation. That's no problem. For you, Wendy, if there's anything else, I'd love to be able to provide something, any information. I hear you're a bit of a investigator.
I mean, yeah, I dabble in investigating things. I mean, but I don't, and like Wendy kind of just like looks over at Jet and is like, now I'm really not sure if we can trust, and like kind of just like tries to like get his attention. Like, I don't know what to say.
It's very modest of you, Wendy. Jet.
Yes, sir.
Let's let's say I know exactly where your dad is. Rather than let's say I know exactly where he is.
Oh, do you?
Mm-hmm. There are a few circumstances that I want you to maybe think on. I'll wait for as long as you need on this part. If I tell you where he is, are you going to kill him?
Depends.
Are you willing to create a rather incredible rift between you and the Min family?
Well, I don't know if you know anything about this, but the Min family has promised me my sire. Just after a job that we have to finish, which I think we're pretty close to doing. And I look around to the rest of the coterie.
Getting very close. Yes, we are tasked with investigating the murder of that student that just passed away, was just killed. We have some leads, we're following them.
And
Do you
not
trust them, Jet?
I, as a rule of thumb, I don't trust anybody.
It's a cop-out answer.
I mean, I've been burnt pretty hard already, so I have my reason. I think, and not to get into your bad graces, but are you willing to... What are you willing to give me? Or what are you willing to work out to get me my sire? It's also something of kind of a matter of what are you willing to do for the rest of my coterie, because the Min family, unfortunately, promised something to them, so it's kind of a bidders war right now for our services.
Certainly it is. The Min family, they have businesses, reputation to uphold and carry themselves in a certain fashion, not necessarily freely. If you think about that, what are they offering you? Power? Money? Anything that I couldn't give you right now at this moment? Names? Heads?
Information.
I have
I
plenty
don't
of
know about
information.
I don't know about everybody else, but I'm looking for someone.
Who are you looking for?
Sunghyun, Han Sunghyun. Police officer, recently went missing.
To kill? To just...
Well, I don't think that matters now, does it? I just need to find him.
That can be arranged.
And Cerise kind of looks over at Viridian, almost asking permission, because Cerise knows that Viridian has a particular working relationship with the Min family, and to take this offer to spurn the Min family in that way might displease her. So, how is Viridian responding to all of this?
Viridian's face, I think, is pretty much unreadable, very stone cold, and they are looking at, and with a very critical but curious eye. They have said nothing this entire time, but have been compartmentalizing and noting within their memory the things that Jet and Cerise are both saying about the people they're looking for and all of that stuff. When Cerise says the name Viridian sort of puts that away in their mind as well. But right now, they sorry, I just turned my volume up. Right now, they don't seem to be reacting, and I think Viridian sees out of the corner of their eye that Cerise looks at them, and they will meet your eye contact sort of just out of the corner of their eye, and their eyes are just so cold.
Let's say I pay up front. Rather than all of you waiting around for any particular results, waiting for prizes. It's always polite to pay up front first, isn't it? I can give you your cop. I can give you your dad. I can give you anyone you're looking for. I'm sure Viridian, Tongxi. There are people that you're bound to be looking for, people to take down.
Perhaps.
If you need the time to consider it, although I've given you... Never mind. I'm willing to invest my time in you rather than fit you into a schedule. The Min family already burned you, Jet, already promising you whatever they're promising you, but isn't it strange? There are some things that I'm sure that they know about that they have no business, no reason to know about any of you. Well, there's no business in me knowing anything about you, so that's why I want to give you the opportunity. Ask me any question that you want.
You're making it a little complicated for me, sir. I have to admit, if I can have my sire in chains right in front of me right now, that would be fantastic. But unfortunately, the Min family are also offering my birthright, so I don't know if I can go against being a part of the Min family.
So you'd like to make us perhaps less welcome acquaintances between the two of us?
I love working with the Hino family. I just want to be at a level where I can provide something to you as well. A lot more than what I already am.
Let's say this. Yeah, go for it. What's
Can
up?
I roll an insight with this guy?
Absolutely. What's your shit? Let's see. Give me an insight.
Messy critical. Oh, actually, no, it's not a critical. So 3 successes.
What's your attribute that you used?
Wits.
Got it. So what was your result again?
3 successes.
3 successes. What are you looking for in particular?
What is he trying to do? Is he basically what I'm trying to think is the constant threat to his business from the Mid family, is he trying to capitalize on that and looking to like...
Yeah, very much, this is almost a tactic of temptation.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I can give you answers. I can give you gratifying results right now. I think you also know there's like maybe we'll carry that success over to Rie poisons herself, but there is a nervousness to her in general. But in this room, I think you notice that she feels bad, or she's not entirely comfortable being in her father's presence.
Mm-hmm.
There is this aspect of, if you say no to anything in this room, there will be a problem.
Jet just raises a hand and just, does it have to be all of us?
It can be for whoever wants to develop a relationship.
I look around. This isn't pressing, right? We have time to
I
think
don't
about
know.
this.
Cerise leans forward in their chair, because earlier, this man had said something about the Min family having no business knowing as much as they do about us, and I think that intrigued Cerise. And so they kind of lean forward in their chair, put their hands underneath their chin, and look like they are looking at the most interesting man in the world. It's a practiced look. Why do you say that the Min family knows a little bit too much about us? Are you suggesting that there's some ulterior motives, that they want something else from us that they're not telling us?
They always have. They've always had ulterior motives. I'm not sure if you know. They are currently buying us out of Itaewon. I'm sure that's fair.
Beyond that, beyond the usual business, politics, it's also boring. Something deeper than that. Because other than Jet, really, none of us have any relation to you. Why use us to undermine you?
What was that last bit?
Why use us to undermine you?
Isn't there any peculiar messages they've ever sent? Things that don't feel right? Things left in the shadows on purpose?
There always
Now,
are.
I'm willing to let you lot sit on that. Wait on that, maybe. See where the Min family takes you, where the results take you. But I would like an answer. I would like a yes from someone in this room.
Cerise takes one last look at Viridian. And assuming that they get the same stone cold response that they have gotten all day,
Yep.
Cerise looks back at the man, holds out a hand. You've got one right here. Give me Sunghyun.
Besides you, Viridian just, you can hear it, breathes in sharply, but doesn't say anything.
N reaches over, leans finally, like straightens up, gives you a handshake. Cold, calloused hand. He looks over to Rie as he's shaking your hand. Rie is taking note of this. Incredible. That was easy, everyone. We'll talk, Cerise. And I'm sure all of you. I'll wait for you. We can still develop a trusting relationship, right? Rie, why don't you see them out for now? We'll see what else we can get out of them another day. And I will say, Rie, before hopefully either of you have any like last sort of quips that you want to get off to the boss, is there anything anyone wants to say or do?
I think Viridian's gonna try to linger as the rest of you are leaving.
Wendy, as Rie's walking us out, would kind of like walk in tandem with Rie and be like, "Are you okay? Are you gonna be okay?" And like hand them some chocolate if she'll take it.
Probably like a little ways out into the hallway where we're gonna still have a scene with Viridian most likely. Rie looks at you with the chocolate. She wears gloves. She takes the chocolate in her gloved hand, kind of looks at you like, not that she's gonna cry, but there is like an emotion certainly that's like, and this lady is a real estate agent. Emotions doesn't really work that way for real estate agents, I guess. Just a very strange appearance like contorts on her, like the nose and the face, and she just sort of says, "I like you a lot. You're a great kid."
Wendy just like nods and is like, don't be a stranger, and like just kind of like walks with the rest of the group, or besides Viridian. But
Jet, during that, after that exchange with Wendy, he leans over and gives kind of like a really sturdy hug to Rie. And he whispers into their ear, "We're gonna figure this out." And then like just taps the side of their arm, and then just like follows the group.
Viridian, you
Yes.
and Ed.
I think as everyone sort of filters out, leaving myself and Cal and alone in this meeting room, Viridian does that thing where like everyone's standing up to leave and they also stand up to leave, but they just linger. And as everybody leaves, I think they wait for the door to close and they just sit back down in the chair in this room and they say, I did have some questions. You and I
Couldn't say them in front of your kids?
No, just they were, and they turned to look at the closed door. They were ready to go before I could speak. You and I both know that information is power. And I simply wish to know why you want to help us, and what do you think that any of us or I could benefit you?
Give me something. Give me a charisma persuasion.
Yeah, I'm good at that. That's nice. I also like this whole time, Viridian has also been trying to vibe check this guy with like seeing if he's lying or just like trying to figure out like how sincere he is, because I don't think it's a well-kept secret that Viridian and Debbie at least are really close friends.
Right.
I don't think that's much of a secret, and so Viridian is a bit surprised actually that he is posturing them so forcefully when Viridian could just go around and tell the Mins like, hey, this just happened. So I think they're curious as to what he thinks he might be getting out of this that, you know, they're not seeing. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5 successes.
Excellent. I'll give you also even a little bit more on top of that. This is a desperate man.
Mm-hmm.
You say that, then he kind of just like, he smiles, there's a little crinkle at the top of his nose. Leans sort of like, there's a bit of like a grip on his knee as he like leans forward to engage you. They've done you right this whole time, huh?
Who?
The men's. Ophelia, Debbie.
You could
Those
say
other
such.
kids. Do you know about the other kids? The other Debbie's siblings.
Do I know about the other kids?
I think Debbie has siblings. Ophelia has
Yeah.
multiple. It's strange because it's like, it's not necessarily, they're not blood siblings. Everyone's a godchild. Ophelia's.
Yeah.
Every all of the like children are or
Yeah.
grandchildren are considered godchildren. He points a pen towards the door. Do you know about the one that I'm talking about, the Alfred? Daniel, whichever one. The name of the Jet's sire.
No.
Jet was a ghoul for a couple of years. Was promised something, the birthright, whatever it's evolved into, by this godchild. Godchild got spooked about Jet being an orphan. Deadbeat dad booked it.
I see. Quite unfortunate. It's not right.
That, and not that it's uncommon to maybe have your rich parents sweep things under the rug, that sort of thing, but there's lots of things that the Mins are hiding. Skeletons in the closet, stuff that they can very well hide. That's totally fine, but what does that mean for the secrets they aren't sharing with you and the people that are around you, the people that you love and their relationship with them? They're we're both businesses. We're all three of us. The Mins, he knows, you, all businesses. And yeah, I have a fucking problem with them. If there's something that I can offer you over them anytime.
Like what?
What's this about San Francisco?
Verdian's face changes a little bit, I think, in its surprise, and I think they try to hide it, but and I think they're mostly successful, but, you know, being that it is just the two of us together, I think N is able to pick up on this surprise. And Viridian just smirks a little bit, and they say, San Francisco. What did you hear about San Francisco?
You have enemies? You have someone maybe you're looking for, or maybe that person already contacted me to ask me to look for you.
You're saying someone is looking for me.
Mm-hmm. Aren't there always?
I'm not hiding.
You're sure fucking not hiding, which is why it's pretty feasible. Someone might ask me something, someone a little bit more underground.
Who was it?
I think you know. A sibling of yours.
Viridian just scoffs, and their posture changes a little bit, and they sit up a little straighter, and they lean forward actually a little bit, a bit more interested in this conversation than they were before.
Desperately, again, desperate in the strange kind of like skeezy kind of businessman desperate.
Yeah.
Tongshi, listen, I can get you the people that you want. I can fix your problems. I can make everything you need go away. The Min family is the problem. There are things I can tell you about them that I'm sure are convincing enough arguments to maybe get them off speed dial, so to speak.
Tell me one thing for my
I'll
consideration.
tell you anything.
Just one thing. And I will consider what you have offered me.
Hit me.
What? Out
Hit
of
me.
character. What is out of character? What does this mean?
Hit me with the question.
No, sorry. Viridian is telling him, tell me one thing about the Mins in exchange
got it,
for
got it, got it,
Viridian's
got it.
consideration of what he's offered me.
Got it. Your Oracle friend, right? The one that's friends with Kyoko. The one that's in love with my daughter. Not the Oracle, but I know about your Oracle friend.
Kyoko.
The Malkavian, Sagwa, right? That kid?
Yes.
I was told maybe a couple of things. Maybe my daughter. I have a great daughter.
You do. You should be proud.
Thank you. I am. To make this fast, how did Ophelia know about Sagwa's vision?
Seems like you're about to tell me.
You might want to maybe evaluate the people you keep close to and their relationships with other people, specifically your Oracle and their life dependency on Ophelia that you didn't know about.
Thank you. And Viridian's face has returned neutrally back to what their usual facial expression is, not giving away much of anything. And they stand up again and offer Enhino her hand to shake. And they say, I will consider your offer.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. And Viridian will just nod again in that same way that they did previously. And they will turn and they will walk out.
Jay, you can decide if you like met up with the rest of the crew fairly quickly or not. At some point, Rhea just sort of lets all of you, so she can take her own sort of time by herself, lets all of you sort of back to the parking lot where y'all parked waiting for Viridian, or otherwise Calliope is just still in the car or whatever. Hey, Key.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'll be rolling something for you to see how much of that conversation you just heard.
The click-clacking of like 10 dice. Like, what is
Yeah.
this?
It's the same thing with Temperance. How many fucking dice do you have?
It was 6. It was 6 dice. Wherever you've situated yourself, wherever you are, wherever you were, where you are now, is right in front of the entranceway as the lovely coterie appears. What do they see, Key?
So, you all see as you walk out someone who's facing away from you. You see a woman who is wearing sports shoes, like sneakers. They're kind of chunky. There are padded knee braces and elbow braces on this individual. They have basically compact shorts underneath a half skirt and a couple of belts cutting across there. Just a little bit of midriff showing over a crop top with the graphic of a rib cage that's bent into a heart shape with suspenders over them. This individual has some fairly elaborate eye makeup that you can't see because she's facing away from you, but you do see the silvery white, gray, coily hair that's tied up with a couple of strands coming down over the cheeks. And there are some golden ear cuffs and a pair of headphones around her neck. And as you all exit, she speaks without turning to face you. So, you were the ones who wanted to get in contact with the Mudong. Is that right? And she turns around to face you all, and immediately there's a cocked eyebrow looking at Cerise. Oh. Hey, neighbor.
Hi, neighbor. You're hard to find. What are you doing here? And what do you know about the Mudong?
Oh. Okay. Things are starting to make sense now. Well, one, I live here. You should know that. And two, I know a lot of things. And it seems like you are looking for some more information. And she looks over the rest of you. And I don't know how connected to social media all of you are, but you might recognize who Key is.
Everybody, if you actually want to do a hilarious little thing, let's see. Either charisma or intelligence for the attribute. And you can use technology, performance, streetwise, any number of those.
Do I need to roll?
No.
Cool.
I'm
Joe,
gonna-
can you please roll for Calliope? Because I think it's more likely that Calliope knows who this is than
Yeah.
me.
Absolutely.
But I will also roll.
So fair.
Wait, I'm sorry, I didn't process. What were my options again?
Intelligence or charisma for the
Okay.
attribute.
Okay.
Technology, performance, or
Streetwise.
streetwise
Streetwise,
for the
okay.
skills.
Okay, thank you.
I need to take a
Cal-
picture of my
Is Calistan? Is Calistan?
Cal is freaking the fuck out right now. Actually, she's like in the car, like.
Wait, why is
Cal
Cal
got a
in the
5.
car? Why is Cal in the car?
Well, she's like waiting in the
She
car.
stayed
I don't
in the
know. She can,
car.
she can,
Sure.
she can be out of the
Yeah,
car.
she wasn't here the
Oh
whole
no,
time.
was she
No,
with
wait,
you?
no,
She there the whole
She
time.
was with us. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I forgot about Cal.
Look, Cerise, I'm
Um,
just manifesting. I want Cal in the car.
Exactly. Yeah. Calliope has been quiet this whole time, totally professional, but then it's just like, what is happening? Like
I
she's
just
like,
imagine
you
like
know.
behind Viridian, who's like, "Who the heck are
Exactly.
you?" Because
Yeah.
I got 1 success, so I don't think I
Yeah.
know who this is. Cal's
Yeah.
just behind me, like.
Yeah.
I love that.
I got 9 successes.
Okay.
Oh my god!
Okay, you super know.
Yeah. Okay. So what? Very quickly, Wendy, what did you get?
I think I had 2 successes, I think.
Okay. So 2 successes. You know that this person is like a celebrity or like an influencer or something along those lines.
Okay.
Bridian, no idea who the fuck this is. Calliope, obviously freaking out. Jet, you are around college students. You know what the fuck is going on. This is Key, the alternative, most famous international K-pop idol superstar at the moment. Very well known for being an asshole during interviews by specifically never answering a single question, always running away, always parkouring away from paparazzi, famous for acrobatics, gymnastics, Heelys.
my kind of
Honestly, Heely promotion. Like Heelys are back with the college students also.
Yes.
This person is an icon, a legend. And depending on how you feel about Key's music, you can be a fan also if you want to.
Kyun definitely is a huge fan.
Yeah, Jesse and Ken sing. You know, they do
Yeah.
the songs. They dance. They do TikTok dances. You know, all that shit.
Yeah, they do the thing. Cool.
Wait, you need to answer the question. Is Jet a fan?
Oh, Jet is a fan by proxy.
Yeah.
Cool. I need it to be known that Cerise thinks that Cal's reaction right now is extremely embarrassing. That's just canon. I just need everybody to know that.
You know what? That's so valid. If Viridian could see Cerise right now, I think they would also just be like, "What?" But I actually think in this moment, Viridian is looking at Cerise. And also at Key. But I think this whole time, Viridian has been kind of studying Cerise very critically.
Wendy
Are
is
you
just
looking?
taking-
Wendy.
Sorry, just a question. Are you looking for something in particular?
No, I think it's just like above the table. It's like after we all left this meeting, Viridian is like already not happy with you, but now doubly not happy with you for just taking this deal. So they are
Cool.
just
Cool. Just
trying to make it known silently that they are not at all pleased with your behavior.
Wendy.
Wendy is going to do the Wendy thing, I think, and just be like, "Oh, do you two know each other or something?" Like,
Oh, yeah, we're neighbors. What? Did you?
huh? And then just like Wendy is just like, "I've never seen Key around Teresa's before," and it's just like kind of like now like in her head like kind of like figuring out how that could be possible, and kind of just like is gone, disassociating.
Wait, did I just hear this right? You know something about the Mudang?
Yeah, I do. I hear that someone here, maybe all of you, you need to see her. That's a weird way to ask to borrow for sugar, neighbor.
It's not me. It's Wendy, actually. And Cerise kind of like holds Wendy's hand and like pulls her closer, like pulls her up to the front.
Yeah.
Come on, confidence, darling. Confidence.
Right. Muda! Right. And it all just kind of like clicks in for Wendy as like she's back here now. And they're like, right, Muda, do you know and like so hold on, I have to pull up my notes now because I had it written down and now I don't know where my post-it note went. My post-it note went somewhere. Oh, there it is. Yeah, so Wendy is like, you know Miho? Is that are we talking about the same Mudang? Because like I know that sometimes that can get confusing.
No, I think we are. Wendy?
Yes!
And she sort of like blinks a little bit, cocks her head. The way that she's speaking, she's very almost purposefully not emoting very much. Her lips don't part very far. And she looks at you, Wendy, and says, "Is that right? Is that your name?"
Yeah. Wendy doesn't read any social cues whatsoever, so Wendy has no idea what you're trying to like convey, and is just like very excited. Like not that you're a star, but mostly just that we know the same person. So people, I should say, because now you know Cerise and I know Cerise, and that's pretty cool. Do you know where she is? Because I've been trying to get a hold of her, and it's been really difficult lately.
Yeah, that's sort of my job.
Oh, okay.
How many jobs do you have?
Enough to do
That's
what I
good.
need to do, at least.
I mean, with inflation and everything.
Right. I'm concerned about that.
While y'all are having this conversation, I think Verdian is sort of in the back of the group, and while the three of you are talking, Verdian turns over their shoulder to Calliope and sees Calliope like freaking out, and Verdian's brow furrows as they look at Cal, and they just say, "Who is that? Do you know?"
It's like a completely famous international K-pop star that is like
Pull
incredible.
yourself together, Cal.
Very famous person. I enjoy her artwork very much.
Okay. That's it.
Very normal. Very cool.
Do you need to excuse yourself?
Yes, and then just goes to the car.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I don't make a lot of appearances. At least I try not to. Anyway, I'm here for a reason. You need to see the Mudong?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yeah, we have some and Wendy kind of looks at Cerise and is like in that like I'm going about to spill everything and I don't know if that's a good idea kind of look. So
And Cerise, I think, just kind of like takes Wendy's hand in theirs and squeezes a little bit tightly and says, "Maybe not here, sweetheart. Why don't we go down to? Actually, I live here. Why don't we just go to my apartment?"
Oh, you didn't want to go now?
And Cerise just kind of looks at everybody. I'm not sure that. Do we want to go now?
The sooner we get the job done, the sooner we can go back to Ophelia and maybe try to figure things out with this whole clusterfuck of a situation.
Do you think you can move your meetings, Satangnim?
Verdian is still like looking at Key with a genuine curiosity, partly because Verdian is unsure as to how she knew that we were looking for Mudong, but also just at the fact that everyone else seems to know who she is, and Veridian could barely understand what Cal said her name was before running off. And Veridian says, "I can make arrangements. Pardon me. It seems everyone else besides me knows who you are."
Oh. And her eyes are this bright copper color, and they kind of gleam when you say that. You must not listen to my music. That's okay. I'm Key. That's all
Key.
you need to know. And you are?
Veridian.
Well, if you can move your meeting, does everybody want to go now? Is that what you want?
Let's go. Yeah. Like Jet said, the sooner that we deal with this, the sooner that we can finish all.
When you say yes, you see her raise a hand, and she has these bracelets around her and around her wrist. Excuse me. And around them are several sets of keys. Key rings, modern keys, really old keys, key cards, key fobs, all kinds. And she sort of like moves them around a little bit, jingles them. And one sort of comes loose, and it's almost like a hand trick kind of comes into her hand. So here's the thing. I didn't necessarily want to do this job, and you need a key to get in to the shop. If you don't have the key, you don't get to see her. So I need to know that you want the key.
why wouldn't we want the key? That I don't. And Wendy is just like I'm confused. Like why?
Good. That's good. That's good. Another hand trick, the key disappears. And she taps her toe, taps the other one. You see wheels pop out of her shoes. Says, okay, if you really want it, come catch me. Then we can negotiate. I'll see if you're worth the time. And she starts skating backwards and spins and starts zipping out of here.
Not this again. And Cerise, I think, having been familiar with Key's antics in the past, just kind of sighs, rolls their eyes, smiles, still grabbing onto Wendy's hand, just kind of like over their shoulder, goes, "We need to go, and we need to go now."
Let's go to break.
All right. We'll see you guys
Viridian
in a
has the
bit.
most perplexed look on their face right now.
Wendy is just really sad she didn't buy those Heelys at the store last time she was there. So now she has to walk/run.
All right, we'll see you guys in a bit. Stay hydrated, stretch, do your thing.
Welcome back from the break. Some very quick Going Crit RPG announcements. Hellions of Karnak, Mondays, 4 p.m. EST. GM applications are over as of yesterday, so stay tuned for any of those announcements over at the Going Crit RPG Twitter. All of you are now, in whatever fashion, scrambling to keep up or even start to keep up with the now fleeing Key, a K-pop idol superstar. Within, we'll say, seconds, what is the decision that y'all come to? How do y'all decide to go after Key?
I'm gonna run to my car.
Okay.
Cerise is not wasting any time. They know this deal. So they're not letting go of Wendy. They're dragging Wendy along as they're running.
Along where?
I think similarly, I think they see that Jet is going to his car, and they do the quick calculus in their head, and they're like, yeah, that's a good call. And I think they drag Wendy along.
Oh man, I love this.
I think Viridian is the only one who goes to the car that they came in, which Cal was driving. And I would just get in and tell Cal we need to follow her. And also, you need to snap out of whatever the hell just happened to you.
I think Cal takes a second. What do you mean? Follow who? Where? Why are we?
The celebrity that you were beside yourself over. Just go. And Viridian's just in the backseat of the
Right.
car, like,
Yeah. Okay.
arms crossed, just like, why are we even doing this? Like,
So, Jet,
Okay.
let me pull up your shit again. Okay. This is going to be a drive. If you want to make an argument for anything other than dexterity, let me know. But that is the core dexterity plus drive.
Resolve. Because I really want to get that key.
Yeah. Let's do resolve. Resolve
Oh,
plus
do
drive.
you?
Specifically, I will say as well, if Jet is busy with driving, I think Cerise hops into the passenger seat and is like being lookout functionally to like keep an eye on where the fuck Key is.
Great. Key, is there anything you want to be doing in particular other than just making chase?
The first thing he's gonna do is get elevation. As soon as she can, she's gonna start hopping on top of buildings.
Got it.
I can wall run, so.
Of course.
of course you can. Simple.
I'm gonna spend a willpower. I only have
Absolutely. Go
3
for it.
successes, but I want to see what my 2 more can get.
I shall roll dexterity plus athletics on your side. Key. But yeah, so what?
4 successes.
What did you get? 4 successes? Okay,
Mhm.
this will be contested.
Jesus, that's a lot of dice.
Okay, well, it was only 1 success. So we'll call
Wow.
this approximately 3 rounds, we'll say. So we'll say y'all are able to see Key. I think you are beginning to see, although this isn't Key, we'll say you successfully get elevation, but it's sort of a matter of like on the sides of the highway there are you're able to start running on top of like those. I don't even know how to explain it. There are just like columns and rows that are like stone that go alongside highways, and you were just fucking on it, and you were running, and somehow Jet is making space and way to start to pick up, and y'all still have visual on key, which is good. We're gonna roll for is Calliope's driving, obviously, right?
Yeah, Cal's. I have
Okay.
no dots in drive. That is one of the many reasons why Cal is around, because
Yeah.
Viridian doesn't drive.
Okay.
Wait, do
Just
we
like
need
Siri.
dots in driving to be able to drive, like canonically?
No.
Okay, cool. Because I don't have them, and I've just been going around saying that Cerise drives cop cars all
Whatever.
Well,
Whatever,
you're
whatever.
also
So
you are a
funny.
modern person. Like, you were born in like this
Yeah.
century. So
But that
it
doesn't
makes
mean that I
sense
can
you would know
drive
how to
necessarily.
Viridian was born hundreds of years ago. Doesn't know how to drive a car.
There are
Like, I'm sure
gays that
Viridian
can't
knows.
drive.
Okay.
Viridian- probably
Calliope
learned, they're not
Calliope is, we'll say, still behind Jet, but I think it's still very much, there is still a visual on key. Where your Calliope and Viridian car is still just a bit of ways behind Jet's car. You fucking zoom in
I think
the
I
highway.
would have told Calliope just follow Jet anyways.
Got it. Perfect. Okay, next round. Give me that resolve plus drive. I'll be doing your parkour shit.
I do a cartwheel.
I'm gonna do
Cartwheel.
just spend another
Backflip.
willpower.
Okay.
Okay. It's 3 successes.
That is 5 successes for Key.
If that's the case, this is also considered as a bestial failure.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
Calliope is
Jet, don't do this to me. Jet, don't do this to me.
Calliope is falling behind. Bestial failure. Okay. I'll give you 2 options, Fabian.
Okay.
Do you want to hunger or do you want to go into your compulsion?
Fuck. They're both bad.
I know.
I'll go into my compulsion.
Okay. Ventru arrogance.
I want to
Whatever
get this
that
key.
means to you. Yeah. All right. There's something, however this manifests within you, Jet, there's something infuriating about this person cartwheeling on the side of the highway on dangerous columns, pillars, industrial, on top of construction work, surging ahead of you. Y'all are 1 for 1 right now. Calliope's she's trying, but
I'm gonna do. You know what? I'm gonna do a blood surge, so I'm gonna do a rouse check real quick.
okay. Good luck.
I rolled an 8, so I don't get hungrier.
Beautiful.
I get an added die.
Nice. Next round.
I have a question before we do that.
Yes.
Or you can roll. That's fine. But I have a question. How
Yeah.
far away is Key from Jet's car? Roughly.
I have no sense of time or space.
Just give
so
me
we'll
like
say like 3 to 4 cars away.
3 to 4 cars. I'm trying to visualize how far away that is.
That's
I
about
know,
like
same.
That's like
How big is a car?
that's
10?
that's about like 3-4
that's not
meters.
that bad. It's like half a block
Yeah.
ish.
Sure.
I
Whatever's
will-
in your
Sure.
mind.
Okay.
Whatever's in your mind is correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I'm before we determine the results of this, hold on, I'm trying to help you out here, Jet.
Okay.
I think Cerise sees that Jet has started to like pull back a little bit and we're like starting to lose Key a little. And so they are going to roll down the window, or I guess we're not physically, whatever. Roll down the window. Or does Jet have a sunroof?
This would not have a sunroof.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
They're gonna roll down the window, and Cerise is going to climb out of the window onto the roof of the car, holding on
Jesus.
for dear life,
Okay.
and is going to yell out for Key's attention. And specifically, I am trying to activate my entrancement, which only requires me to gain the subject's attention and then to win a contest for it to work.
Okay. You're gonna have to give me a. You have nothing. Let's see.
Like I have audacity. If
Yes,
Cerise has
absolutely.
anything, they have audacity.
Absolutely, you do.
Sure.
Very,
Give me a
very quiet, muffled. What are you doing? From
Yeah.
I
Viridian's
can't
car.
hear you. You're in your car.
You can't hear me, but the audience needs to know that it happened.
Give me a. I think you're giving me a flat strength because you don't have athletics to stay on the car. But you have your full willpower if you want to use any of those to be able to add 3 other dice.
Can I argue that this is also brawl because I'm scrappy?
Sure.
Okay, cool.
Sure.
You're fighting the car. You're fighting wind
I'm
resistance.
fighting the
Fighting the
car.
car.
I don't know.
You're fighting physics. Seriously, physics. Let's
And
do
you
it.
said I can
Argument.
use a willpower? What does using a willpower do?
You can spend 1. You can tick it so that you can re-roll up to the 3 dice. So you can literally re-roll 3 of the dice if you fail. We'll say.
I don't know if I should because I only have 1 willpower left.
No.
So it refreshes.
Oh, it resets. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yes,
Awesome. In
yes.
that case, I am going to do that because I did not roll well. You said it was a strength check. That's even worse. Yay. Okay, I got the first one was 1 success. The second is 0 successes.
No, that 1 success still stays.
Okay, cool. In that case,
The
1
one-
success.
Okay. You have an idea. You're falling off of the car.
On a highway.
Yeah, that's
On a
fine.
highway.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's chill. Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah. So Cerise is like on top of the car, and it's just like you're just suddenly seeing Cerise's just leg just like on the other side now. Just like
Okay.
as Cerise is trying to like.
Well, I have 5 successes.
Yes, you do have 5 successes.
Can I
But
divert those successes to just,
I was gonna say.
to just save
I was
Cerise?
gonna say, to save Cerise, absolutely.
Let
I
me
love
go.
that idea.
Let me go. Just keep going.
You can let Cerise fall off the car. Viridian will pick them up, and we'll have a chat.
How, you
Without
just gonna
decisions.
ram into them?
If you want that to work out in your social favor, good luck. Wendy, are you high? What's up?
Of
Are
course
you
she
high?
is. She's
Yeah.
just
Okay.
like,
Wendy is just like
what?
This just reminds me of wild card, motherfuckers.
Right,
Yeah.
because she's just been
Um,
popping chocolate.
Falls off
So
of a-
they've
Yeah.
just been like, now it's all kicking in at once, and like Cerise is doing what Cerise is doing, and they're just like trying not to move in the car too much because it doesn't feel too good right now.
you are getting ahead because Jet now has to swerve his car so that Cerise can potentially somehow get back in. We're gonna call this one last round.
Oh Lord.
Look, I had to try it.
Calliope
I had to
is
try
not
it.
doing great because not only is she's still freaking out, I would say. Like her favorite K-pop idol is all the way over there just running on top of like construction, and then Cerise is also falling off of the car in front of them, and Calliope is just fully like she's
It's-
trying not to scream a bunch, but it's very much like, you know, what were you saying, Fabian?
Oh, it's just like Calliope's met with like stoplights because I had to like do a maneuver to save
Yeah.
Cerise.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm spending 1 more willpower.
Okay.
Yes,
4
you
successes.
use all your resources on this. This is good.
I have a lot of willpower,
I-
thankfully.
I should have had more
What was that?
stressful music going on, but it's fine. That
I'm
is
listening
gonna
to the
be
most like
good.
intense thing
Great.
right now. So
All right. Key got 3 successes. So Jet, you are able to see where Key eventually front backflips, all of the gymnastics terms that I cannot think of at the moment, into a certain turn. Calliope is gonna have to do her best, but you are able to basically merge 5 lanes all the way over to the exit that you need to be going because Key hops out fast. At this point, Wendy, are you high enough that you would be able to not give directions because you know where this road leads to?
I imagine that Wendy is a little bit dyslexic.
Okay.
So
Me too. Me too.
Raise your hand if you're a little bit dyslexic.
I'm a lot.
Yeah, got it.
So I feel like they would try very hard to help give directions. And I don't know, it depends on how much Jet and Wendy have hung out to whether or not Jet knows whether to do the opposite of what Wendy says.
Let's roll a die.
Okay.
Reverse controls.
1 to 5, yes. 6 to 10, no. I got a 4, so yeah.
Okay, cool. So Wendy doesn't use left or right; they use this way and that way.
Yeah,
and
me or you.
Yeah,
Me or you.
So yeah.
A me turn or a
You're
you
welcome.
turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay, but U-turn or U-turn, because that
Exactly.
can get confusing.
You better hope that it's a me turn. So
Yeah.
Calliope is having a hard time merging fast enough and has to take the next exit to get there. So Viridian and Calliope will take a second to follow along. Calliope is apologizing, but she is just she's breathing and we're gonna fix this. Is basically what she keeps saying to herself. Jet, you are making your way over to an antique shop emporium. It is a considerable. Yes, Viridian.
I think so if I understood you correctly, we missed the exit, so we had to wait
Yeah.
for the next exit. Okay,
Yeah.
so as soon as we miss the exit, I think Viridian just pulls out their little flip phone that they have, and they use it to call Jet. Actually, wait, no, they know that Jet's driving. They would call
Driving and
they would
calling,
call-
yeah.
Yeah, they would call Wendy.
Who's high?
Who's high? Yep. But they don't want to call Cerise right now.
Yeah.
I was gonna say if you
So-
called Jet, Jet is Cerise, could you get that?
No, Viridian would call Wendy. So your phone rings, and Viridian's just gonna say, just tell us where you end up, and we'll meet you there.
Oh yeah, I'll Ted taught me how to send you my location, so I can do that. Hold on, and Wendy doesn't hang up and just starts pushing buttons to try to get to the.
And you hear
thing.
Viridian's faint voice on the line on the phone just say, I don't know what that means, and I don't think my phone can do that, but you can text Calliope.
Okay. And goes to text Calliope the location, share my location or whatever.
Cool. Key, you roll up, you adjust, you show up in front of the very familiar place to you, the antique shop, the Henhouse. On the inside, the windows are littered and covered with glass bead curtains and trinkets of all sorts. Certainly imported things, certainly things that are very expensive, although antiques have that effect. Many people come around to Itaewon for the antique stores, the antique streets. This among the many, a haven, a glorious collection, home to one of Itaewon's mudangs, Miho. I forget my line of thought, but how's everyone? What happens when people park and adjust at this moment?
I think when Key arrives, Key was fully ready to like keep going. And I imagine that she honestly was not prepared for Jet to pull up like right behind her, and she just like probably at that point had after getting off of the exit had popped the wheels back out, but as soon as she realizes like headlights are in her face, she stops, pops them down, and she waits.
I think once Viridian arrives, a good time later, we did miss the exit after all. I think once Viridian gets out and rejoins the rest of you, if they looked pissed off earlier, now their face just reads sour and disgruntled and what other kinds of negative emotions that they're feeling right now.
Jet is just as frustrated and takes out an edible lollipop, blue raspberry, and just like pops it in his mouth and just leans in the car, looks at whatever damage Cerise might have accidentally done, and just like looking to buffer it, just wiping with his jacket.
Cosmetic, no worries, just like
Yeah.
heel scratch marks
Yeah.
probably.
I think Cerise like literally rolls out of Jet's car onto the ground and then kind of like stands up and sees Jet like fussing over his car, and they kind of walk over and like over Jet's, not over Jet's shoulder because Cerise is very short, but theoretically around Jet, just kind of goes, I could probably help fix that. Do you like cop cars?
No, I'm good. I'm good. Don't.
Sorry.
The car's fine. Don't try that again.
It was fun.
It wouldn't be as fun if the worst would have happened.
I know that you have me.
Yeah.
Can Key, if I can make a suggestion at this moment, would you like to get a feel for kind of an insight check, get a feel for everyone's mental state at the moment?
That's exactly what I was going to ask. Yeah, I would love to.
Great. I'm gonna roll a wits plus empathy.
Is this contested?
This is contested. Manipulation plus subterfuge, or whatever else you would like to argue.
I'm going to argue I get my pretty dice for this.
Whatever you want to do, just roll it, and then whatever.
Okay, Joe. Okay.
Manipulation plus whatever?
Subterfuge.
Subterfuge? So I got 3 successes.
3?
Yeah, I forgot. I'm still under my compulsion. I actually have to do something once everything is settled.
Yes. Yeah.
I got a bestial failure.
Word. Okay.
Oh, no!
I got 3 successes.
3 successes. Wendy, what are we gonna do with you?
It makes sense though.
Viridian got 8 successes.
8 successes. Got it.
Yeah, and look, I think you can see that I look sour, but I think it's undiscernible if that's just my normal face or how I'm actually feeling in this moment. Because the way that Viridian carries themselves is very in line with their facial expression that they have on right now.
So fair. Immune to empaths.
Wendy, take a hunger.
Hey.
Key. With your wits plus empathy, you aren't able to tell what's going on with Viridian. You got 5 successes. So, with Jet and Cerise, I will allow you, if you have a specific insight check like question you'd like to ask of Jet and Cerise.
Yeah. What do they want most right now?
For Jet, it's that key. It's Jet has been calm for most of the night until this. And you're sensing the beast pushing Jet to do whatever he can to get to the Mudang, and at any means necessary is what he's exuding right now.
For Cerise, it's Viridian's attention. They don't like that they're being iced out today. Even if it's negative attention. Honestly, at this point, Cerise is willing to take anything. Even if it's disappointment, anger, whatever, it doesn't matter. Cerise wants Viridian to look at them, to pay attention to them, to talk to them. So they're acting out a little bit in order to get a reaction, and they're not getting one. So they're not happy about that.
Okay. Excuse me. Key is going to kind of nonchalantly walk up over to where Jet and Cerise are. Say, well, hardly fair, but you caught up. This is what you wanted. Hand trick. A key.
You see with shaky hands, Jet is holding it out.
Do you want this feeling to go away? I'll give you the key, but
You all notice that Jet growls out in a different voice, and even in a different language. He said, "Tangina, bigay mo sabi," and he takes out his gun and he points it at your head.
I can take this desire away.
You're starting to see Jet tearing up with one bloody tear, and he cocks the gun. Ibibigay mo ba o hindi? Ayoko na maglaro. Ibigay mo na sa akin yan. Hindi papaputok. And you
Above
see he's starting to cry. And above table, he's just demanding you give the...
I want to ask what language you're speaking, because Cerise speaks a lot of languages.
He's speaking Tagalog. He's speaking Filipino.
Okay. Cool.
So, you give me the desire for the key, and I give you the key. That's all.
With rage, and you probably can... From the empathy roll, I guess this would extend. You see he wants you to take whatever you're saying. All he wants is the key. He doesn't want this feeling anymore. Clearly.
Cool. Key just has this. She closes her eyes, and there is this, even with a gun to her head, there's this deep, calm inhalation.
Real quick, you probably notice also his finger is so far away from the trigger and the safety is still on.
She's not concerned regardless. And as this inhalation happens, you feel this desire, this rage that you had built up, this want that turned into a need for this key, get drawn out of you. And whatever state you're in before, you come back to that. And you watch as Key takes this long inhalation. And previously her demeanor is sort of kind of monotone, a little cocky. And on the exhalation, there's like a small break. A little... Ooh. Yeah, you're quick. She tosses you the key that you don't even want anymore.
Yeah, and I don't know, maybe it's like some semblance of the beast. But you see that everything slumps from Jet except for his hand holding the key. And he's just silent, and he's just standing there, seemingly exhausted from the whole ordeal.
Viridian will take it from you if you let them.
Yeah.
Okay.
What did you
That
do
was
to
fun.
him?
Oh. Just seemed to be having a bad time holding on to that desire, so I took it.
What do you mean you took it?
Girls gotta eat. You know about that, don't you?
What does that mean?
Who's holding the key right now?
Brilliant.
Me.
Radiant. We'll say to quickly cut this off at the moment. Viridian, you take the key from Jet at this moment. Jet slumped. You have the key in your hand. It's just a key. But all of a sudden, a strange, warm, tingling sort of pop rocks feeling goes through your mind, and almost as if there's a door in your mind with an orange sort of aura around it, one with a white, blue, and red sort of like shooting star, like a fairy light just surrounding it, almost atom-like. That image pops into your head, and it almost seems to be pulsing and vibrating as it starts to speak to you, Viridian. And it's from the key. It's because you're holding this key that you have this vision, and it thrums warmly. Hello? Is anyone gonna come in? My tea's getting cold.
Who's speaking?
You're Mudang.
And Viridian kind of looks around and sees that there's no one else here. And then they look down at her hand and see the key. Does it look any different?
It does. There is... What you were seeing before from the key was clearly some sort of glamour. Some kind of mask, something. What you are holding now is a key that is pulsating with an orange, fuzzy... It feels like pins and needles, your foot falling asleep, holding this key in your hand. Although maybe you haven't felt that in a while.
Is this something that I've seen before happen with other like supernatural things?
Give me an intelligence occult. it's gonna be a decent difficulty.
Cool. 0 successes.
Cool. You have no fucking clue. This
Okay,
it makes
cool.
you feel weird.
Cool. Yeah, Viridian doesn't have any in occult, so
Yeah.
that's fine. And she kind of just holds it up and out and says, I think the Mudang is speaking to me through this. We should go inside.
As you motion the key upward, even there is the white, red, and blue sort of light. Those atoms spiral from the tip of the key towards and surges towards the door to the antique shop.
Viridian will just start walking that way without waiting for anyone else.
That's not to. That's not to keep her waiting. Here, for your troubles. And Key puts something into your hand, Jet.
Oh,
I look into it. I look at it. What is it?
You have a fistful of what feels like a root vegetable. Except for it is crimson.
Okay.
beets?
It's beyond beet. It is like dark blood red.
Is it a kidney?
No, it's a vegetable.
Why are you saying it like that, Gwen?
It's a vegetable.
Yeah, you you see just Jet, a little pale, just accept it and just like sit on the ground and just like eat this like edible while everybody's just about to head in.
Wendy like sees what's going on, but then like notices that everyone seems a little preoccupied, so she's just gonna just put her head back down and like follow along, staying close to Cerise, because why not?
Yeah, I think Cerise just like double checks that Jet is okay, seems mostly fine. Don't know what's up with the vegetable, not gonna ask. And so they just kind of take Wendy's arm in theirs and they walk in behind Viridian.
Is Jet sitting on the floor?
Like, yeah, like he kind of like slumped on the concrete, on the asphalt outside.
Oh, are you staying? Okay, no, we're gonna help you up.
Like, you help him up, he stands, and he's just gonna walk gingerly with you guys.
Viridian, I think Key, you know what's going on. You see what Viridian is seeing. Viridian, you have the key, and there's like a magnetic pull towards the lock of the store.
Yeah, I think that's why Viridian just started walking without like waiting or looking at Jet, because I think normally Viridian would have checked on Jet, but
Yeah. Unlock?
oh yeah, if the door is locked, I'll use the key in the lock.
Yes. The door, once just a standard sort of store's door, all of a sudden, again, almost as if a mask is lifted, a glamour is lifted. All of a sudden, there's almost like the Howl's Moving Castle, the door, the little, the spiral, the door color changing. It turns from whatever normal wooden, whatever metal material it was, to a red velvet color. And so far, Viridian and Key, you're the only ones that are seeing this. Opening the door. The windows on the inside still look like those beaded curtains and those things. But once you walk in, it is a cobblestone outdoor stone path into an autumn night. And certainly it's about autumn as well, but there's air pollution, there's noise pollution, there is stars in the sky inside of the antique shop. And an orange light beacon is just a walk away. And Wendy, you have not experienced any of this. You've probably had very normal experiences with this Mudang, phone calls, any sort of thing. Maybe, do you think you would have more of a professional relation? How much do you know this Mudang? I actually want to say.
I feel like Wendy probably would have come to them for just like candle rituals or like, you know, basic clothes, like nothing like really mystical or anything. Just kind of like maybe like listen to that, like ask. I imagine Wendy would pay them to tell them folk stories and like bedtime stories and like things that they felt they missed out on growing up. And so like it's a very like businessy kind of situation.
This Mudang, Miho, kind of a strange Korean name. This person, you would know her to have like blunt bangs, long black hair, just kind of someone, when not in the Mudang vestments, dresses fairly plainly, that sort of thing. A beautiful, kind of a sexy lady, kind of like a young, like very, you know, a nice looking lady. Wendy, I think you also will say, I think you are just now remembering her last name, and this is also for me to you, Jen, telling you Miho's last name finally is Miho Ku, which in the Eastern way of saying the name is Gumiho.
Okay. All right. I see what you're doing there.
And in this
What does that mean?
uprooted, well, so you'll find out. You'll find out. In this orange beacon, there is an uprooted platform in between a bisected tree. And there are paper lights sort of all around this platform, where there sits in the center of it an orange nine-tailed fox woman. Mostly nude, other than sort of a golden sort of sash, just like a beautiful sort of fabric, kind of the suggestion of hanbok pieces, whatever she wants. There's smoke spiraling and incense and in a pipe. And as she turns around, sort of moves herself, long claws against the wood, her voluminous nine tails following behind her as she turns to all of you. It's the face of the Mudang, Wendy. That looks like her. Viridian, it's that same orange, fuzzy feeling looking at her while holding Key's key. She points over to all of you. I forgot that this is my little prop piece. Are all of you going to keep me waiting? Come sit.
No. Fredian will walk in and they will do that thing that you do where you pull up the pants of your pantsuit, and they will sit on the ground.
Come sit on the platform. Come sit on the tree with me.
I
Oh,
brought
is
who you asked
there a
me,
chair?
It's floor seating.
Okay, then yeah, Viridian
Yeah.
sits on the ground.
Wendy's jaw is just like on the floor and like doesn't know. Like it's just like, what?
Wendy, you've seen me before. Come over here.
That was just the regular chocolate I normally get, right? This is how this is real life right now.
Miho raises her like long fingered, long clawed like hand towards you, Wendy, to like.
Okay, Wendy's just like, all right, and like grabs puts her hand in her hand.
She puts your hand on her like basically like bare boob, and she's
Okay.
just like, they're as big, they're real, they're still the
Yeah.
same.
Okay, and Wendy is just like, all right, and just like sits down. Like,
Everybody's sitting? Okay, great. Let's get some. Come on, everybody. And then fairy lights, red, white, and blue, all kind of like summon down for all 5 of you. And there's a little like clear. There's a clear liquid in these like little ceramic like teacups. And Miho, this beautiful foxwoman, she has a humanoid face other than kind of the whiskers, the ears, and obviously her tails and her extremities. What does everyone want to drink?
Oh, well, you know what I like, Miho.
Soju, if it would please you.
What kind of
And I
soju?
think Cerise is sitting as close as they could get to this woman, like right in front of her.
Yeah. What kind of soju?
The air tastes like strawberries in here.
I like that. And although soju doesn't have any particular color, I think the fragrance suddenly changes from like what doesn't smell like anything to strawberry soju. I think for Key, is there a flavor of anything that you like in particular?
For Key, it is more of a it's something extremely like subtle, like a hint of a fruit. Um, something more like
little.
kiwi, probably. Just a little fruit.
It's like the fragrance of kiwi or something. Maybe like the fragrance of like a kiwi based perfume from like a lover you had before or something along those lines. Viridian, Jet, Wendy?
I feel like Miho. I picture Wendy and Miho like sitting over a pot of like boricha, and like like I feel like Miho would just know that that's like Wendy's drink of choice when
Hot or
she's
cold?
in this kind of space. Probably hot.
Okay. Hot, beautiful, rich boricha.
Jet, Jet just blurts out, "If you, I have a whiskey if you have it."
I want to say, yeah, Viridian, Jet, Jay, you pose a good question. None of you can't drink, but for some reason you want to. You there's a feeling, there's like some memory or something along those lines that fills the cup. There's whiskey in your cup now. The strong, sort of pungent, but like rich smell. Viridian.
I think Viridian hasn't had anything to drink in a very long time. I think in certain social situations they have had something to drink only to expel it later. And I think in this moment, feeling the desire for something to drink, I think Viridian asks for some kind of red wine. Pinot Noir or Cabernet or something.
And a rich, aged, perfumed red wine fills your cup. And all of you will find you are able to taste it, able to enjoy it here. So, I hear we have a bit of a spirit problem, death problem. Are we looking at like an exorcism? Wendy, I can't remember specifically what you were saying on the phone.
There was a broken plate left outside the shrine where a body was found. And I know that probably can't be good. Although this is really good. As Wendy sips from her cup.
I think I am hearing some whispers of Pugun upset or something along those lines. He's not really around very much anyway, to... Huh. Well. Everyone, give me a wits awareness.
For what?
Wits awareness.
Yeah, for what? Sorry.
Oh, as sort of like, oh, I'm sorry, wait. There is an actual insight check. So
Yes.
wits insight. We'll say awareness too. If you have a good awareness or insight score, add your wits to that to see, kind of get the vibe for what Miho is talking about. Mm-hmm. 3. Okay, we'll say Cerise and Viridian. It's weird because Miho is acting like she doesn't know what's going on. Miho seems like she's having fun first before she is letting on that she actually knows more of what's going on. Not necessarily malicious, just as a way of like, there's this playful, strange, roundabout nature that is similar to Key.
Did Key follow us in here, or is Key still outside?
Key's here.
Oh yeah, she's sitting next to you probably.
There's a orange haze similar to the Key that you're feeling to Key sitting next to you as well. There's something carrying over to her as well.
If I put the key down, does that feeling fade?
Right, yeah. If as long as you're not touching it, this sort of connection to Key herself even kind of goes away.
Key, I think you notice that as Viridian is holding their glass of wine in one hand, their other hand, which is holding the key, goes down to the ground, so they're holding like the key against the ground like this. And I think you would notice them take their hand off and put it back on repeatedly.
I think as she notices you doing that, she sort of gives you a look of just basically to say, like, you see me?
Key, it felt like Viridian was tapping your shoulder. Cerise?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
With that check, if I may ask a question of you as the storyteller, if Miho is playing a game, how do we play it back? How do we play it with her?
Be roundabout. Talk like you're having a tea party.
Okay. And what was the last thing that she said?
I hear Pugun was upset about something, but he isn't really around.
And for me, the player, Bugun is...
Pugun is the government deity god. The Bugundang shrine is his shrine.
I think Cerise nudges Wendy. Kind of like softly nudges Wendy and says, "Come on, Wendy, you go to the shrine all the time. You should know what exactly the deity is wanted all this time."
I mean, and then Wendy just goes on a ramble about how government in Korea has a lot of corruption issues, and like it's really hard to tell what the god really wants, and it just kind of like verbal dumps some type of hyper focus, like long rabbit hole of why no one really understands them, and I think like to kind of showcase that like Wendy herself also doesn't really know what the god would want, and that's kind of what the Murang is for. And if the Murang doesn't know, like not reading that Cerise trying to
Yeah, that's on me. Yeah, that's on me.
He is so amused by this. Just so amused.
Wendy's
There's
hyper
broken
focus.
plate. Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say Wendy's hyper focus is just like that type of stuff.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
anytime she gets a chance to talk about it.
There was a broken plate, and there was incense or
Yes.
something. Yes. Well, what do we know about incense? Let's infer maybe what's going on. It was cut off. The connection to Pugun.
Mm.
Someone asking something to this old man for whatever reason. And for it to be tossed over by the young man, presumably the dead boy. A disrespect.
It seems like someone maybe didn't want an answer, or didn't want something answered.
She kind of like sniffs around. She leans over to sniff Viridian's shoulder, and then like puts her nose in like your hair, Viridian.
Viridian is visibly uncomfortable.
Where is the dead boy? And she's smiling as she says that.
Oh, we put him in the kimchi fridge.
Most of him, anyway.
Most of him? What do you mean by that?
Some of him is irretrievable now. Let's just say.
She kind of, her nose kind of goes over to you, Cerise, and her finger slides down sort of like the bodice of whatever whatever lingerie top you have, and just kind of like slides down your sternum down to your stomach. Did you have a taste?
I did. And it was, far better than I could have imagined. Why is that, by the way? Would you happen to know?
Let's see.
There was no blood inside of the body. Nothing that would have theoretically drawn me to it, and yet it was irresistible.
Nothing should have drawn you to it.
And this is the first time Viridian has spoken to Cerise of their own volition. And Cerise kind of like almost too fast, but they catch themselves. Like turn to look over at Cerise. Right. Nothing should have, and yet it did.
Do I know, Joe, that when I touch this key, that key feels something? And or key, do you, like, when I was tapping it like this, like, did you make any indication that I was, like, touching you?
I think what you got was that when you did that, you heard what almost sounds like it's as if you were pressing up against like an iron rod gate. You hear like the sound of the gate sort of like rattling a little bit, like next to you where Key is.
Okay, then in this time, Viridian would have just, like, looked over at you and, like, kind of, like, done it again.
It keeps happening.
And I think they just kind of, like, look down at the key in their hands and look at you. And the conclusion that Viridian is making in her brain is that, like, these are linked. Like, you are linked to this object. And I stop tapping it. And I just hold it. I just hold it in my hand. I think, like, if you can still feel that, I do think one of Viridian's thumbs is just, like, subconsciously rubbing it.
Viridian's caressing you, Key.
Yeah, you do that and you hear like it's similar to wind chimes, but like it's very clear it sounds like keys like on a ring sort of being jostled a little bit. And you see her sort of like roll her shoulders when you do that. Go. "Ah, we haven't exchanged many words and you're already being so forward, Viridian."
And I think Viridian looks down at their hand, and this confirms their suspicion, and they just, like, put the key back down on the ground almost too fast. Their hand is still over it, but they apologize quickly and just leave their hand just resting on top of it.
Miho, her finger tapping against your stomach. Cerise, you asked the question, why was it that it was so desirable? Miho's finger draws against sort of the wood of the platform that all of you are sitting on and taps the blood root vegetable in Jet's hand. Take a bite.
They're asking me.
She was looking at Cerise, but I think she'll also look over to you, Jet.
Can I actually do something?
Of course! You could everyone do whatever you want. What's
Can
up?
I?
Cerise takes a bite.
Okay, great. Cool.
Can I make a science roll?
Yeah. If
Like
anyone has a cult they want to use, go
intelligence
for it as well.
and science.
You can
Cerise
do
trusts
science.
this woman implicitly. They are going to just lean over and bite this vegetable right out of Jet's hand.
Okay.
Yeah, Jet is flustered from this
Of
action.
course.
Yes. But I got 4 successes on my science roll.
Science. I don't think there's any scientific, whatever, no natural world way for any of this to make sense where you are right now is not bound by science. I will give you, however.
Can I at least identify the base vegetable of what this is? Not what has been done to it, but like before whatever magical thing this is, do I know what it is?
It's not a vegetable. It's not anything that exists.
Okay.
Other than, I'll give you, This root, whatever it is, very much is something that can maybe only exist in the hands of people like Key and Miho.
God damn it. I hate you, Joe. All right. Jet doesn't know
Cerise-
shit, but
oh.
I things are going in my head right now. Okay.
Okay, cool. Cerise, take a bite. A flash to your mind goes back to the feeling of biting into that heart in the morgue. What you thought, perhaps for a few seconds, was the joy of that experience. And rather the cold, unfortunate reality of what was you biting into an exsanguinated heart. A few more seconds, you're able to linger joyously in that feeling. You come back into yourself. And rather than, biting into an organ, you're still, you bit into this root. And there's almost like biting into a beet, a little bit of like the red dye around your mouth from it. It's strange. It's not blood. It's almost perfumed flavoring of it. There's something still satisfying to it, that there's a almost like opioid type haze. It makes you happy. It makes you calm. Miho says, bloodroot. Somebody use bloodroot.
Are you saying that they they replaced the heart or infused it somehow with this?
Yep. A perfume, maybe a powder of some sort. Maybe it was somehow replicated into some sort of topical situation. Miho looks over at Jet and winks. Looks back at Cerise.
Why do that? What's the point of what's the point?
Well, if Key and I bite into this bloodroot, we don't feel anything out of it. We can make it. A couple other people that know how to get in and out or use magic like we do, powers like we have, to make bloodroot, they can certainly draw out a few vampires. For sure.
Must have known you were coming.
This is
This
bad.
is a bigger breach of the Masquerade than we thought.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, this is gonna be a bigger problem. Temperance is gonna have a field day.
Why do you say that?
This was done. Whatever happened, probably done with alchemy, and I'm gonna need to compare notes with some other of the Thin Bloods in the city.
Miho,
Mm-hmm.
why does this bloodroot not work on me?
Take a bite. It would. It will.
No, I meant back in the morgue. If this somehow compelled Cerise to bite into bloodless heart, why was that compulsion only for them?
To use a metaphor, I had to eat about 1,000 hearts to get 9 tails, to get power, to be able to create this marble of a reality that I have created. Your age means a lot to you, very, very cold friends of ours. You're stronger than that one. Just like kind of half-heartedly gestures over to you, Cerise. Sorry.
No offense taken. Actually, Jet, do you mind if I...
You right now? Wait, what do you mean?
They are gesturing over to the blood root in your hand. They're asking if they can have it.
He takes out Jet takes out a knife and he cuts a portion. And he takes like a small portion of it and offers you the rest.
And Cerise takes the rest. And they take a small bite out of it.
What are the side effects?
Specifically,
It's a
Everybody is
narcotic.
Is
Do you want more?
I do. Do you have more? Is this another one of your jobs?
When Key laughs, you hear like the jingling of like keys. Says maybe.
Full of surprises, aren't you? Yeah.
I give Viridian a pointed look and just kind of gestures over to like the blood root that Cerise is like consuming. Kind of like insinuating like, are you gonna let this happen?
Did anyone answer Viridian's question about side effects?
He said it's a narcotic. There are no specific side effects other than genuinely this is a whatever it is, vegetable, fruit, root, made for vampires to momentarily or for however long their dependency on the root becomes to feel good, to feel disconnected, whatever good feels to someone on narcotics specifically. But I think even more in particular, it's sort of to twist a little bit between Key and Miho, something even more based on leaning into the desire that a vampire might have in a moment, or the lack of control in any situation.
Above the table,
Yeah.
could, like, is there like mechanical benefits to this?
No. Not benefits. It just feels good.
So it's like vampire drugs.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I think then, knowing all that Viridian knows about drugs, I think Viridian is not anti-drug, given that they profit off of that. I think what they are more worried about in this moment is the dependency factor and Cerise or Jet or anyone else becoming addicted to something like this. And so when Cerise takes some of it, Viridian will look over at them. And I think because Cerise has been teaching Viridian Korean Sign Language, they sign to you. Essentially, don't you dare.
I think, in response, Cerise looks very pointedly at Viridian and takes a bite.
Mio looks at Yuki. Oh, let's go for it, Wendy.
I would say Wendy knows KSL a little bit, so not that it would be like not. This is the one thing that Wendy's like, oh, okay, like picks right up on it. Is like, oh, something is happening here.
Yeah.
That I did not know about. All right, and then like looks to go like pull out a blood bag, but doesn't have any. So.
Miho looks over at Yuki. Incredible friends that we've just made today. I apologize. I'm sure it's been a bit frustrating today. There's only so many ways that we really know how to deal with the lack of life of the undead. The raised dead. It's very interesting, honestly. All of you pose a very fun life question. All of you are very fun to just think about. Basically,
So
though,
fun.
there's a boy, a dead boy, in your kimchi fridge. There's this blood root that seems to be outside of this antique shop, out there, presumably with someone as Jet's skills, may be able to transfer it in a way that is not very fun for me. I don't like things to be outside my shop that don't need to be. Depending on the price, I suppose. But what would you need of me, Wendy? What do you think would be a good idea? What kind of ritual would we need of the boy?
I feel like a quit would be important. Maybe even just a candle. But like honestly, that's got to be a horrible way to die. Like, to be honest,
Maybe
now part of his heart is not there. So.
Maybe a shikumkut. I can't even say the fucking word. Shikimkut.
Yeah.
Which is specifically a rite used to cleanse the spirit of a deceased person, especially when they were not able to fully prepare for death. I would need to be able to get to the body to prepare sort of the dressing. If there are any particular... What, Viridian?
So that can be arranged.
Great. The more hands-on I can be, the more helpful I can be. And I love Wendy very much. I've only met her maybe twice. But I would love to help out and see what on earth is going on. You have Key's key. You'll always be holding her.
Viridian,
Yeah.
Oh, when you say that, Viridian looks back down at the key and looks at Key and says, "Do you mind?"
Oh, not at all. I'm very invested in you all now.
And I think, like, as you say that, the tiniest smile flashes across Viridian's face, and they slip your key into their pocket.
So we'll make it a group date. A big ol' exorcism.
Ooh, I'll bring some food.
Oh, definitely. We'll
Like,
need...
vampire food, but
Let's see. We'll need a lot of food.
For the ritual.
Yes. Fuck. I'm trying to find all of my many articles about this. She
Bree
will
will
essentially
say-
give you like a list. She'll
Bree-
give you a list. I'll get it to you.
Viridian will say anything that you need to do this, I can acquire.
Very tempting to say. Is there anything else I can provide for any of you? You have to be very careful when you ask, though.
What do you
Not
mean?
in a malicious way. You never know what goblins and what other creatures are sort of around. In fact, just to sort of get some bases clear. Key,
Yes, Miha.
I would like to defer to you. I'd like some assurance. If you wouldn't mind, if anyone wouldn't mind, honestly, to be our point person to see if anything goes wrong, nothing reflects badly on us. Miha's pointedly looking at Cerise at this point.
What are you worried about?
Our fruit is outside the antique shop. It's not very good for me. It's not very good for any of you. I want to establish an understanding, a relationship. You can have a discount this way.
I really need that discount.
Should
The
have
problem,
led with
Wendy,
that.
is that you've never given me your full name. So it's not really going to work with you, Wendy. Which is
And-
fine. I don't need your name, but I would like... Points at Cerise. Points at Jet. She like kind of almost points at Jet, but like kind of like changes her mind. She's like, you have a lot of contracts sort of in the air.
Sure.
So I want you. The pretty strawberry one.
Cerise, like, I think had moved away from Miho to get this blood root from Jet.
You have
And
like
they-
beet, like red dye, like, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. It's like dripping down their front.
Yeah.
With the blood root still in hand, I think Cerise like crawls, quite literally on their hands and knees, crawls over to Miho. And when they get there, they stay on their knees and they hold out the hand that doesn't have the blood root out for Miho.
She pushes her long finger, her hand, and pushes it towards Key.
Hi.
And Cerise Cerise laughs a little, does the same thing over to Key, and holds out their hand for Key. Don't know if you ever got my full name. Cerise Shaheen.
Shit.
Good. Can I have it? Just to hold on to.
What do I get in return?
A discount. Exorcisms.
All that, and I'll throw in a little something extra. Deal?
Deal.
Miho is like smiling and like kind of gasping every time Cerise is so like, they're saying yes to everything. This is amazing. And is looking at Viridian. It's just like looking scandalized over to Viridian as this is happening.
I don't think Viridian can even look at Cerise right now. I think Viridian is trying to keep their composure, but they are so unbelievably pissed off.
You have you're on your hands and knees with your hand out. You see Key sort of like bend her knees to sort of meet you, and as she does, you hear like this sort of like creak of like iron moving, and you see Key's glamour shimmer away, and you see what previously was just painted lips, assumedly hiding something. Her fangs grow, extend, and curve outwards, and her skin is this cast iron, and there are segments like a doll that are filled in with copper. And she still has this white hair, but it's a little wirier, and her eyebrows are this deep red color. And her copper eyes are more literally copper. And as she leans down to you, you see that there is a keyhole in her chest. And with your hand out, she takes your hand and drags it across and pulls. And when she does, there's sort of like this shimmer, almost as if there's like an idea of a key. And she puts it into the hole in her chest, and it slides all the way in. And another hand trick, and she takes out a key card and slides it and tucks it into your sort of like jacket, your coat, and says, if you need anything, if you want anything, it doesn't have to be me. It can be, well, you can think about whoever you want. But you can always borrow some sugar, neighbor. And she stands up.
Miho has been looking at Viridian like this the entire time.
Viridian has finished their glass of wine.
Above table. What did you take from me?
Oh.
You don't fucking know.
No? Okay. All right. Okay. just a question.
Don't worry about it.
You have no fucking idea.
All right.
Viridian, do you say anything to Miho, who's just been observing you this whole time? Not making any checks, just like looking at you.
I think Viridian just looks right back at Miho, and their brow furrows, and they just say, "What?
Nothing.
What?"
Nothing. And then Miho looks over to Wendy. Wendy, okay. So, food is good. You don't have to spend them. If people can spend the money on it, let other people spend the money on it. But I do have this one thing. And she pulls out this like golden fish. It's covered in red, white, and blue. not it. I keep saying red, white, and blue. It's not an American thing. But like it's like 3 different like threads just sort of like tied together all around the fish. This is going to need to be near the body. Please take care of it. In fact, if it leaves your care at all, just don't do that.
Yeah, no. And then like Wendy puts up 2 hands to like receive it and like puts it gingerly in her messenger bag. No. Yes.
Okay. If everyone is good, I suppose I have to close up shop for today. Any questions? Any questions?
Viridian will take out of, I think, like an inside pocket of their blazer, a business card, and they offer it to Miho. And they say, when you are ready, you can call this number.
She eats it.
Cool. And Viridian will just kind of watch this happen and just nod. And they say, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
They are going to walk out unless anyone stops them.
Nope, no stopping. I think the one thing that Miho says to you, Viridian, before you leave is, if you ever want to talk to anyone about your, and I can't also think of a way to say this without being totally insane. And Miho would say something insane, but I also, because we're closing out, I don't want this to like take up 1,000 minutes. If you ever want to talk about the reason why, like, I think she whispers this, if you ever want to talk about your sad, wintry sort of face and what made it that way this whole time, come back around to talk to me about it. And there's like a lingering eye towards Cerise and then back to you. And then she sort of lets you go.
Yeah, Viridian's face is very much like, oh, thanks for the offer. Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, Viridian is leaving and they are mad. And I think their coterie can feel their anger radiating off of her body as she just walks out.
Is Viridian more mad or sad?
Mad.
Okay. Instead of wintry, Miho says summery.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, Viridian's not sad. They are angry.
Cool. Great.
What do you know,
Any
Fabs?
Any last words, everybody?
I hate you, Joe.
I have no idea what any of this means.
That's fine. I think Cerise just goes over to Miho and like bows politely and says, you know, I'm not one for visiting Mudangs, but I think we'll be visiting you more often. Thank you for all your help.
You look like you want to eat my heart.
One day I will.
Mm.
And Cerise walks out.
Miho gathers Wendy in a big, naked-breasted like hug.
I keep forgetting she's just naked too.
She's naked.
Wendy is all for it. And it's like, yeah, I'm gonna grab that stuff. I will be back. Yeah. And like, she's just kind of like very much is having a gay panic moment
Yep, of course.
and walking backwards outside. Like, just like, yep, like keeps bowing, like walking.
Jet looks back at Key and looks back at Miho and looks at the blood root, like the piece that he has, and then he just like walks out while he's texting. He's starting to text people. Yeah.
And that ends our crazy fairy episode for today. All right, everybody, let's go around and do our outros. I have been Josephine. I have been your storyteller and your fox lady. You can find me at Scary Dog Friend. I'm all over the place. Just follow me on Twitter. I don't remember anything that I do right now. Youngles.
Hi, I'm Youngles. I play Wendy, your cozy, very confused, person. And so you can find me on the internet. I have stuff happening all throughout January that I can't talk about yet. So keep an eye on Twitter. And Hamna, you.
Yes, hi, hello. My name's Hamna. I use any and all pronouns. Today I have been Cerise Shaheen, who uses they, them pronouns. I am a tabletop performer, so you can find me on Twitter at h__, where I talk about all of the different projects that I'm a part of. I'm on a lot of different APs, so if you want to know where I am at any given point in time, Twitter is the best place to know. With that being said, one thing I will plug is that this Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, I will be over on Theo_Cologne's channel playing the Mythic Initiative. It's a Monster of the Week campaign where we are the monsters of the week every week. Over there, I play a child of the devil who is basically the mask version of Cerise and with daddy issues. So if that sounds interesting to you, you should come check it out. It is also a very feral, unhinged AP. So if you like all of the mess in this one, you will like that one for sure. Speaking of mess, I will pass it over to Jay.
Hi everyone, my name is Jay. I have been Viridian Song. I am on Twitter at NalaWoo and at NalaDraws. If you want to see my art, I'm also NalaDraws on every other social media that exists that I have an account on. I am a freelance illustrator and art director doing work full-time in tabletop RPGs. Besides that, I am also a voice actor, sensitivity consultant, and an actual play performer. I think like on the Twitter is the best place currently to see where I am and what I'm up to. And the one thing I want to plug is that this Saturday at 8 p.m. This Saturday at 8 p.m., I am going to be on Utopia for a holiday charity stream. We are raising money for Toys for Tots, which is a charity that does a lot of really great work. And we are going to be playing a D&D 5e one-shot. And I believe this is Sailor Scout Austin, Austin's first time GMing on stream, I think? ? So don't miss it and help us raise money for this incredible charity. I'm gonna pass it over to Fabs.
Hey. It's Fabs here. You know me as GM and producer here at Going Critical. I work in comics primarily, but I also do a lot of APs. We're having a lot of stuff here at Going Critical. Also, I have a personal channel now coming out next month, Bad House RPG. Check that out on Twitter. I don't have any games except for this one for the rest of the year, but watch out. Follow me on Twitter and check out some announcements. I believe I'm going to have a Kickstarter soon for a variant cover for a comic that I'm doing. So yeah, follow me on Twitter and stuff like that. See you soon. Gwen, take it away.
Hi, my headphones died. I have been Gwen. I use she/her pronouns. I played Key today, who wasn't a vampire. Who also uses she/her pronouns. Thank you for having me, guys. You can find me at glitchy_pixie on Twitter or at glitchypixie.com. I am a tabletop RPG performer, writer, designer, illustrator, voice actor. I do it all. I have a lot of things that are going to be announced this coming like month. So check out what I'm going to be doing this next year. It's a lot. It's a lot of things. So get excited for that. Yeah, that's me.
Hell yeah.
Gwen also GMs Capricious Provenance. Look that up.
I do that. We're coming back in, I believe, February. So episode 3 will be out in February. We're super excited. There's going to be a lot of changes and a lot of good stuff coming out with that. So check it out.
Much love to all of you. This has been Itaewon by Night and Glenn RPG. Bye.
Yep. Bye.